podcast.
Let's go.
As you can see, it's September, and
It feels like July.
It feels like July.
Mid-July.
And we are down at the falls. We love Sioux Falls. We had our episode last month with Chris.
Yes.
Chris was here.
He stood in for me.
Stood in for you. You had a lot of things going on. You were actually helping the Raiders out to see if they're going to get better this year. So
yes.
he's confident about that. We should actually be 2-0. We got, but hey, Chiefs update.
Yes.
0-2.
Let's go. 0-2.
We're loving.
We stepped outside for this episode. Sometimes we film at the church, sometimes we film down at the video lab, but we thought it is so nice. Let's take our listeners and our viewers down to one of the trademarks.
Yes, exactly.
Of South Dakota.
Right on.
Falls Park.
Right on.
So we're videoing from down here today. But Scott, as we jump in, as we know, each and every episode we always have a fun little icebreaker question.
Okay.
Obviously we're both wearing some NFL jerseys because it's that time of year.
Yes.
NFL season has arrived,
yes.
and we are pumped for it. So I'm curious, Scott. I looked up before we film here, and I was curious to know what the Vegas win total was on the year, what they projected for the Raiders, and then what they projected for the Broncos to start the year. Now I know we're 2 weeks in, but I still want to ask it anyways.
Yes.
Okay, so I looked up, and the Denver Broncos had a win total of 9.5 wins.
Okay.
So I'm curious to know, how do you feel about that?
I actually am feeling really, really good about 9.5.
All right.
After losing yesterday, I still am comfortable with 9.5.
Yes.
I still think we're still good.
Yes.
I feel after that terrible call, we're owed one, so I still think 9.5.
9.5. So you feel like are you gonna hit beyond 9.5?
We're gonna hit beyond. Yes.
Okay.
I'm calling 10 wins.
Okay.
So we're very, very confident.
All right.
So,
all right.
And I think if I remember right, looking at things, the Raiders win total over was 7.5.
That's correct.
Right.
7.5.
All right. How are we feeling there?
Honestly, as a Raiders fan at this point, Scott, I don't even care how many wins we have. We are so bad, and I'm so used to being terrible that I'm even if we win 3 games, I think that's awesome.
Wow.
Even if we win 5 games.
You set the bar really low for that.
As long as I set the bar very
that's
low,
right. Yep.
then,
your expectations,
then I'm not disappointed. And so,
there you go.
I do think personally, I think the Raiders offense will be better than what people will think it is. We got a lot of young talent. However, I'm not going to go crazy and say we're going to win the AFC West by any means. And so
when they looked really good.
They did, a step up.
Right.
A step up.
Yeah.
So kind of transition into what we wanted to chat about this month. First of all, I'm glad to be back. I know I've been all over the place a little bit.
We're so glad to have you back.
But specifically in the context of somebody who just bought a home for the first time, right? I think there's a lot of first-time home buyers out there. Once they buy a home, you get through kind of all the feelings of excitement, of the thrill of owning your own home. My question is, now what?
Right.
What? Maybe share a few tips, Scott, of what you would recommend to a first-time home buyer after they get through the closing process and they officially own the home for the first time. What do you recommend?
Right. No, I love that question. It's perfectly put. It's you go through, now what?
Yeah.
What do I do now? And the answer to that is continue to ask those questions.
Yeah.
What do I do now? Don't be, if you use me as your real estate agent, great. I'm always going to be that person that's going to keep filling you in on what it is that you need to do next.
Cool.
There's always going to be an email. There's always going to be a response from me, a text message from me. Okay, you've purchased your home. Here's step 1.
Yeah.
Here's what we need to do next. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up your home inspection. I'm going to be in touch with your lender. We're going to do the appraisal. Yeah. We're going to set up your utilities. And all of those things, we are going to go through those. The biggest thing is always ask the questions.
That's cool.
Because it's that old adage, you're in school, there's no stupid question.
Yeah, right.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Because this is the first time.
That's cool.
And you have to understand, you have to know.
Yeah.
You want to know, what that next step is. And you want to have somebody in your corner with you that knows what that next step is.
You know, that's a great point. Just keep asking questions. I remember when Ann and I first bought our home up in Minnesota when we were living up there, and I just remember feeling so vulnerable because I'm like, I've never done this. I don't know what even these terms mean. And I just remember like hounding our insurance agent. I felt like I was so annoying to her, but she was super gracious and helpful. But she was like, no, just like keep asking questions along the way. And something I really respect and admire about you, Scott, is I feel like you have a genuine desire to want to be helpful for people. Like you're not a person that's like, the deal's done, I'm peace out. You know, like you're like, no, I'm here for the long run and I want to help you. So I think that's super cool.
That's so true. I just, again, love the process. In fact, I had someone that we just closed on, and we went through the process. The house could just very trying to make this as short as I can. The property that they looked at, they really wanted to make an offer on it. By the time I called the agent, it had already sold. Back to square one. We were looking at other properties. I get a phone call. Hey, property's back on the market. Got to make that phone call to the people that really love this. We made a contract, put it together, got it under contract. Then we go to inspections. And during that 10-day inspection period, the buyers had a vacation planned and they were out of town for the entire inspection process. And so as they were on vacation, you know, I get an email and there's a 14-point, you know, question. Hey, this and this and this and this. And to be able to walk through those entire, you know, that entire email of questions and getting that done while they were on vacation and have everything kind of come together, and we ended up closing on it and did all that stuff, and it was one of the most enjoyable,
that's awesome,
you know, transactions that I've ever had, because again, it's that asking those questions. You know, what can I do for you? I'm going to do that for you, even though you're gone to Florida for 10 days. During this entire process, I'm going to handle those things for you. And in the long run, when it was all said and done, I was extremely happy with how the process worked. I was extremely happy for them, excited for them. She got into a house that she absolutely loved, and that we were able to do everything while they were gone, and they were so appreciative. You know, I'm not saying this to, you know, pat myself on the back, but it's just, again, when you're working with someone, make sure that you're working with someone who is going to answer those questions, who is going to continue to look. If I'm working with you as a first-time buyer and we've gone a couple of days without talking and you don't have any questions, I'm going to call you and I'm going to say, what questions do you have? Because there are a lot.
That's cool. So, man. That's awesome. Something else I was thinking about as well, just even with like Ann and I's experience of buying our first home, I remember something else that came to my mind was like, I'm a projects type of guy. So I'm like, right when we got the home, I started thinking like, okay, what can I do? What can I change? How can I maybe increase the value of the home that we now buy? So is there maybe anything or a few thoughts you would share on that of like, absolutely. How do you increase the value of your home? Yeah,
exactly. And it's funny because when you're out looking at homes, you're doing that even then before you even purchase a property. Well, gosh,
ooh, I want to change
I can change this. The cabinets can be changed. You know, the backyard, we can, you know, the basement we can finish and blah, 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 do all that stuff. So you're already thinking about that when you're purchasing a home, which is great. When I am talking or advising buyers because I'll get that question, you know, what can I do to increase the value of my home? It's very simple. Deal with the outside of your home first. You know, if there's anything that needs to be, you know, trimmed up, maybe painted, you know, a fresh paint, new color, you know, some fresh landscaping, things like that. Get the outside first. Then when you're looking at your inside, kitchen remodel. The best return on investment that you can ever make is remodeling a kitchen. A basement that's not finished or a basement that's outdated or whatever, remodeling or finishing off a basement, number two. And then kind of going from them, maybe if you got an opportunity to add a fourth bedroom, putting the egress window in, you know, those type of things, those are the things that are going to increase the value of your home.
That's awesome. I think one other piece that maybe I would add just from an insurance standpoint. So I do have a background in insurance and used to be an insurance agent and stuff. And you know that, Scott. But something that I oftentimes would be very frustrated at is sometimes homeowners would tweak their home and update things, which is awesome. They would just forget to tell their insurance agent about that. So if you are trying to increase the value of your home, you're making any sort of improvements or tweaks to the home, make sure you tell your insurance agent, because as the value of your home goes up, you want to make sure that you have enough dwelling coverage insured on your home, so that if you did have a total loss and you just remodeled your whole basement, there's a good chance that you probably wouldn't have enough coverage on your homeowner's insurance policy. So again, just communicate to your real estate agent, communicate to your insurance agent, and it will make your life so much
exactly. And then also another tip, or when you're doing your remodels, I always tell buyers this too: keep a folder. It can either be on your phone, it can either be a physical folder. Everything that you do, have receipts, all your invoices, things like that, just to have that in your file, because those are things that, again, for insurance purposes, or when you're looking at selling your property 5 years down the road. That's another question I always get, is how long can I be in my home? If it's that 5 to 7 year period down the road, you want to be able to come to me and say, hey, we're looking to sell. Okay, great. What have you done to the home? Here's what we've done.
That's great.
And be able to say, it'll help me when it comes to doing, your market analysis and things. If I know the things that you've done, how much it kind of costs, gives me a better idea.
That's great. And I'm glad you brought that point up. So you would recommend, when it comes to, selling your home, or people asking, how long should I own my home before I sell it? You would recommend that 5 to 7 year mark?
Right. Yep. 5 to 7 years is usually a really good time frame in order to, look at getting, that return. You're starting to build some equity. It takes between that 5 to 7 years.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. Again, going back to when Ann and I bought our home, obviously God had different plans for us. We ended up moving back to Sioux Falls, but we really only owned that home for about a year. And then we tried to resell it. And of course, things basically came out even, and we didn't make any money on that because we barely even owned the home. So I totally hear you on that for sure. So
for sure.
Awesome. Well, hey man, thanks for sharing a few tips and tricks of all that stuff. So anything else you would add?
It's just that time of year. I mean, it's good to do we're getting into fall, we're getting into winter. It's really kind of a good time to get a report done on your home. Take a step back, and just, hey, if you want to know kind of what the market's been doing over the summer, maybe since you bought, let me know. I mean, I do a market analysis. I do a market report for free of charge, just so you know. I think it's really, really good information to have.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Hey, well, thanks so again for joining us again for another episode of our Resurgence podcast. Thanks for joining us down here at the Falls Park.
Check it out.
It's such a beautiful place. And as always, we always like to just say a quick prayer and close our time together just in a prayer here. So I will do that if that's cool with you.
Absolutely. And if you have any prayer requests, drop them in the comments. Follow us on YouTube. Rate, subscribe, review, do all that stuff. It's got some good content. I think we've got almost have a year's worth of episodes. We're getting there. So go back, check out our previous episodes. You'll be glad that you did, I think. We got a lot of really good stuff, but love to hear anything that you have, any prayer requests, any comments. Love to hear from you.
Awesome. Hey, well, let's pray real quick.
Yes.
God, thank you for today, and just grateful for your beautiful weather and your beautiful creation, and just even getting to film down here at Falls Park. We just see your fingerprints over everything. And so, God, we just pray for those listening online, God, wherever they're at, Lord, that your Spirit would meet them. And even through conversation with real estate, even through conversation about faith and family, God, I pray that they would encounter you in a real, intangible way wherever they're at today, God. And obviously, we have a lot going on in our world, in our country, in our life. And so, Jesus, we need you so desperately each and every day, God. And so go with us the rest of this week and just bless our time in your holy and precious name. Amen.
Amen. See you next time.
Take care.